Well, hello, my baby gorillas, for the last time on YouTube, I think, just now, and I'll explain what's happening. But hello, boys, what are you guys saying? Let's hear what you're saying. John, years, years, I think Davey will have a wee cheeky korma. Well, I think we're going to do one better than that, Johnny boy. I think we've actually got the champagne out, brother. We're going to have a wee cheeky glass of Bucks Fizz while we're doing this, or the full bottle, as the case may be. Let me know if it's... Hello, my baby gorillas. And listen, let me just make sure that the sound, because the sound was a bit knackered last night, tell me what the sound's like. And we'll just, I'll fill up my glass and tell you what's going to be happening. Yeah, brilliant, great mate, great. I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you're listening to what I'm saying. Let's have a wee sneaky peek at this. Oh, that looks delicious. So, let's have a wee celebration. 5 years doing this, 5 years. And although we've only reached 250,000 views, in that 5 years, I can only say it has been an absolute pleasure dealing with you guys and speaking to you and being able to communicate with you. And thanks to YouTube, that's the positive side. But let's have a wee look at where it all started, shall we? A way back when, and the SNP debate's on. What a waste of time that is. So let's have a wee look at this. Let's go back to the start, your channel. So a lot of you will be asking, why is this the last time on YouTube? Oh, just now, I'm not 100% sure. It may pop up, so retain your memberships on this platform. But this should be the last time on YouTube. And I'll explain why. We've now, the channel has now got 2 strikes on it. If we get another strike, they can delete the channel, which is what they wanted to do. Don't forget, they've already taken down my Facebooks. They're taking down my LinkedIn profiles. So the California-based tech companies have deliberately tried to censor me. That's not going to stand them in good stead further down the line. But this is where it all started, 5 years ago. Now, they've...
when I started my business
they've banned us. They've not only have we got the 2 strikes, we've also seen that we can't grow the channel on YouTube. We're going to go probably over to Rumble in the short term before the Guerrilla TV channel website's already up, but that's going to be redone. And we're going to have our own channel so they can't muck about with us anymore. We'll find out proper viewing figures, proper subscription figures, and we'll be helping other broadcasters who are getting deliberately sidelined by the Silicon Valley globalists. But I think we can be rightly proud of what we've achieved over the last 5 years and getting rid of some of the worst elements in British politics. And even when they banned me, they just banned me there. They took down the video of me talking about Nicola Sturgeon. Now, if anybody wants to see that, video, and they want to actually have a wee look at it, go over to Odyssey. Unfortunately, who didn't get it? Rumble didn't get it, so they didn't upload it fast enough. But Odyssey did get it. Or that would be the 5th. That's the 5th podcasts that YouTube have taken it upon themselves to delete, which I think is personally an infringement in my copyright. It's not as if you can go into a book display and they can just rip up your book. It's basically my copyright, it's not theirs, and they should have returned it. That'll get played out further down the line. Social network. However, it has to be said, congratulations to Odyssey, ODYEE. So the channel will remain up but stagnant on YouTube. And cheers to you, 5 years. So on our 5th birthday, they had given us another strike, our second strike. One more, the channel's deleted, and yeah, that's what they've done. So obviously, probably pressure from the British government onto California to delete any voices that are not in line with the globalist, the Weki Wolfter agenda. Love my baby gorillas. So you can go on here if you want to see the video that YouTube deleted. It's this one here.
Right now, with breaking news that Nicola Sturgeon has resigned. Let me just see if I can get this slightly lower. Oh, that looks better, doesn't it? Oh, good stuff, good stuff. Let me just move this slightly down. Oh. Years, basically, and the ineptitude and incompetence of this administration over the last 8 years, it seems to have lurched from one bad policy into another.
So that's it. So if you want to go over to Odyssey, the Guerrilla TV channel's got it on Odyssey. Everything will be going back up on our own website soon enough. There's major plans afoot anyway for the new website. What are you guys saying? So we will move you over there, but we'll start streaming now through Rumble, maybe Odyssey, maybe DLive as well. But we'll pick one, we'll stream through it, and we'll work with. Hiya Danny, how you doing, mate? Can I send you memes on Twitter? You certainly can, guys. I'm still on Twitter as well. Hiya guys, how you doing? Bonkers mad. So yeah, you can get us on Twitter. We'll still be on Twitter for the intervening period. Obviously what's his face seems to be Musk, Elon Musk seems to be slightly better with that, but game over. Yeah, certainly game over on YouTube, but I'm actually looking forward. I mean, we haven't earned any money. 500 videos later, the channel's been suppressed. We're getting deleted videos off the channel. We can't get anything great. I have signed on to these. Yeah, so get us on. We'll be getting us on there. I don't want to delete this channel. I could set up a secondary channel on YouTube. I know it's good to actually have a wee chat through this and just mothball this one, but I might do that. That might be a plan on YouTube, but I'll wait and see. I've had enough of YouTube. I've had enough of Silicon Valley and what they've done, and that sometimes situations change. I have accounts on Odyssey, etc. Yeah, mate. Yeah. So go and look. You'll be able to get the videos up on Odyssey as well. Being able to chat to you guys, I would need to set up some sort of mechanism like this just now, the chat, so we can actually continue to chat, because I've enjoyed your company and we've all had a great time as well. But it was our birthday. It was the Guerrilla TV channel's 5th birthday on I think it was the 16th of February. So we're late, obviously, having another strike and being banned by YouTube, which I'm completely sick of as well. Means that we weren't able to celebrate it on that, so it's a belated birthday. But this is where it all started 5 years ago. This was New Year's, so I filmed it on New Year's night on 2017-18, and we launched in, I think it was January, no, I think it was launched in February the 16th. That's when the YouTube channel started. But it says launched in January 2018, but I think it was February the 16th. So YouTube helped us miss our anniversary, our 5th anniversary, for having a strike for things that I've said that are correct. So here's the launch. Well, enough of that, but that is absolutely the best way to start it all, isn't it? Wow, what was happening there, guys? What's with the green stuff in your drink, Davey? No, this is Bucks Fizz. So it's actually, it might be coming up different because of the blue screen, but it's actually champagne. This is Moe. We're drinking Moe, celebrating their birthday. and orange juice. So we're drinking Bucks Fizz, mate. Absolutely beautiful, yeah. It was absolutely stunning. Years, and the fireworks are even more amazing because I absolutely hate them. They absolutely hate them. Years, and would be amazing. A big curry night. Now, I actually got a curry, funnily enough, tonight. Come on, the Indians. And the Pakistanis, for that matter. So, what's happened over the last 5 years? Quite interesting. So let's go and have a wee listen to me talking to Colin Fox, the leader of the Scottish Socialist Party. The Scottish Socialist Party, I got that right.
This is a stove heating cushion.
And this is Colin and I. Oh, here we go. Go. Just give me a second, buddy. Let me just get you on. Carry on.
That's us in Edinburgh speaking to Colin Fox. Have you Scottish Socialist Scotland, is it?
Scottish Socialist Party, yeah, that's flag. Scottish Socialist Party there, yeah, £10 an hour living wage.
Now,
that's it.
Just to go into that a wee bit in depth on the Guerrilla TV channel, what would happen to the businesses?
See, I got a plug in there.
For instance, I had a start-up business,
Yep.
and the state is trying to force me, and I've just started, maybe I have no money or a limited amount of cash to actually set up a business. What happens if I've got to fund £10 an hour to actually get the person? Is it better for that person not to have a job and me not to be able to afford £10 an hour? Or is it better for that person to work and maybe bankrupt the company because it's a start-up?
Hey, well, it's better for that person like it's better for every person to pay your own way. People want to make their own way in life, don't they? They want to pay their own way. If you don't get the national minimum wage just now, you still qualify for housing benefit, you still qualify for tax credits, you still qualify for free school meals. In other words, that wee business that you're talking about, paying people slave wages means that the rest of us are going to pay out of our taxes that person's rent.
Oh no, but that's the way you set it up, Colin. That's the way the socialists set it up. Anyway, that was an interesting chat with Colin as well. So, fantastic, loved that. Thanks, Colin, for the interview. So what else have we got? Oh, I mean, it's just incredible how when we go back through it. That's a lovely young fella, Wallace Jaffrey. And Wallace and I were talking about, Wallace has got dyslexia as well. Wallace is highly intelligent, one of the most intelligent people, academically intelligent I've met.
My name is Wallace Jaffrey.
Wallace.
Aye.
With dyslexia.
Oh, fucking like 12.
So you were late in identifying?
Yeah.
And did that make a massive difference to your... How did you identify?
Well, they pretty much decided I couldn't spell. So they just like diagnosed me, just like I really couldn't spell, like seriously. So they just decided I couldn't, they just like got a psychologist to diagnose me. Funny enough, I'm also diagnosed with Tourette's.
Alright, okay.
But most people can't notice that, so that's
Aye,
alright.
you don't swear.
Aye, exactly.
That's fucking shit.
Aye, I have really good self-restraint, don't you worry.
That's great. So, have you got a bad memory, a personal organisation that usually is affected with dyslexia?
No.
So you don't have that?
No,
Right.
I just deal with it myself.
And are you sure you're dyslexic rather than just having
I've been diagnosed with dyslexia. Like I have papers and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, it should be pointed out, we were both absolutely hammered here, but it was great meeting them.
And how did you get diagnosed? Who diagnosed you?
The school. The school has a...
Did your mum and dad ask to get diagnosed? Or
No, the school asked my mum and dad to get diagnosed because I was so bad at spelling. They pretty much said...
Is that affecting you? I mean, obviously you're very intelligent, but did that have a... Before you were diagnosed,
Yeah.
did that have a profound effect on you?
Aye, it definitely had a profound effect before I was diagnosed. But these days it doesn't matter because mostly I do maths and physics and shit.
Right,
Yeah.
so you're doing numbers, and I was very good with numbers as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I just focus on numbers from now on. Is that enough?
Yeah, but I was just going to say that in 2002, I got the 3 different dyslexic bodies to go and speak to the MSPs for Karen Gillan. Karen Gillan, who was a Labour MP for Clydesdale, took the 3 different dyslexia bodies and actually spoke to all the MPs. And then in 2008, which would you be in 2008? 8. Right, so that's prior to you getting actually diagnosed. I actually got I put a petition in to have all children assessed for specific learning difficulties. And I'd also spoke to Jack McConnell, who brought in the Disability Students Allowance for Masters graduates.
DSA?
Yeah, so they...
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for Masters graduates, postgraduates, and Jack McConnell also he allowed parents to have their children assessed as well, which that's why I was asking you.
I have to say, I think one of the great things about doing YouTube is that I've learned through my trials and tribulations that I can't speak very well, which I didn't recognise before. And I think by actually speaking on the internet to nobody, that it's been very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, it's been very self-evident and also evident to me that my speaking has improved. Not greatly, I've not actually gone and done what probably I should have done, but definitely the fluency of my speaking has improved by able to speak to you guys as well. It's not great, it's not what it should be. I didn't probably realise how bad it was when I first started and the fluidity of the actual speech, but it's definitely improved now.
Was it the school or was it your parents who got assessed? And you said it was your parents at the school, which is good, that's progress.
I'm glad you did. I really appreciate it.
That's right, but I'm glad. There's now 17,000 rather than 7,000. 7,000 in 2002, 17,000 now, but there's many more dyslexics.
There's so many out there that haven't been assessed.
Yeah, that's right.
And autism as well.
Yeah,
like
I have the ADD, so...
My big brother's been assessed with like severe autism. So yeah.
Another nice young fella as well. So, let's go through a few more of these and actually see what we've been doing. Oh my goodness, it's just so fantastic. I forget how fantastic it actually was. This is one that they use up in for when they're smearing me in the papers. This is they just love a wee smear of a David Ballantyne, don't they?
Of Arthur's MP are going to have to figure out is if they're pushing a line.
And that's one of the other things from starting off, and the knowledge that I've built up by creating the set, creating this new sort of dynamic between us. It's not perfect just now. It's not where I would like to be. By the next time we could actually set up our own studio. I like this sort of talking head image in the short term, but we can have our own studio by the time the Guerrilla TV channel actually does live feeds and live streams. So that's going to be very, very interesting. But I mean, this was right at the start, and I didn't have the knowledge of certain mics for the phone and the quality of sound with the air blowing in I thought it would be a lot, because it was a phone, it would be a lot better with the wind, but as you can hear, it's howling the gale, and just the improvement in the full setup has just been unbelievable.
Being independent, but in the EU, whether or not...
And you can hardly hear that. Fortuitously enough for me, it's got a lot better. So then, what do we move into? Undercover in the job centre. That was me getting bullied in the job centre. Unbelievable. So they wouldn't give me money to start the business or loans that you would get. They wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do that. Then we've got Frederick Engels, who advocated genocide against the Scots, and who...
Hello, can I speak to Mr. Ballantyne, please?
Speaking.
Hello, it's PC Fuller from the police control room. I believe you called earlier.
Yes, that's correct. Can I just be 2 seconds? I'm just going to do something. Give me 2 seconds. A complaint, or at least find out more about the hate crime legislation that is basically, the hate crime legislation.
Yeah, I understand, and it was to do with writings in the Quran. Is
Yeah.
that right? Okay, so I mean, the legislation that we have in Scotland would not apply to it.
Why is that?
Purely because, well, I'm trying to explain to you if you listen. It's a religious book about Islam, and Islam is not a race. It's a religion. So.
Oh, right, so at least the police know. What's that? The statue to Frederick Engels. Engels advocated genocide against the Scots. Engels was obviously Germanic, not British. So that was very interesting as well, wasn't it? Oh my goodness, where did that go? Did I just lose myself there? That was going so well there, swimmingly well. But yeah, and stumbling through words, being more precise in what you say. I mean, it has really been evolutionary and revolutionary in my own personal abilities, and not seeing what other people see. I finally get to see what other people, warts and all. And am I proud of what I've done so far? Yes, yes. If this was my legacy and what I've actually done up to now, I mean, we're not finished yet by any stretch of the imagination. But if this was my legacy, this was, I mean, I couldn't ask for much more. Let's, we'll do this before I go into Tommy Robinson, then we'll flip round, shall we? We'll flip round to the saved. So this is a Conservative gentleman. He's obviously what would be described a wet, but what we now know is the wokey globalist type of conservatism.
Protesting here?
Well, we're overturning this Brexit thing and getting back to being a member of the European Union.
Yeah,
we think it's a disaster, this Brexit.
You're not a Democrat.
So this is from within the Conservative Party. So you can't really continue to have the wokey wefter part of the Conservative Party and the proper Conservative Party, the one to make Brexit work. You really need to split the party, because it's two different ideologies. It's like one can be a communist and one can be, a libertarian or something. Well, not a libertarian, that's probably not. A liberal. One's a communist, one's a liberal. It's two different ideologies pulling separately. What you need to do is break up the Conservative Party and have one party who wants to reduce taxation, increase growth. A bit like what's happening with Richard Tyson and Nige. And then you've got these guys who are wokey wefters, who are open borders, who want us dictated to by 20 unelected commissioners, just like the Liberals, just like the Labour Party, just like the SNP, and just like the Greens. Even the Tories, this type of conservatism within the Conservative Party is exactly the same as the other five parties. This is where I see politics differently probably than the average person. I see the five parties as the same. They're all wokey wefter parties. The five ones that are elected, all wokey wefters. Apart from some within maybe each of a minority within each of the five parties who are not wokey wefters.
Democrat then saw 28 unelected commissioners.
Oh yeah, no, we're asking for a vote, another vote.
About 28 commissioners dictating policy.
They don't. I used to be a European member of Parliament, so I know I used to have I was a vote. I was a Conservative, and I voted, it's the parliamentarians and the Council of Ministers that decide everything, not the commissioners.
The commissioners dictate the policies and all that.
No, they don't. They execute the policy, and
so they basically decide the policy, but they're not elected.
No, they don't. They draw up the bills, but it's the.
So they draw up the bills. I mean, really, honestly, the semantics that these individuals, the hoops that they have to jump through to disprove what we all know to be true is just staggering. It's staggering for me. I might not. I know that people are like, "Oh, Dave, I can't believe you got upset about this. What's it got to do with us?" It's got everything to do with us. This is where the power comes from.
The parliamentarians and the Council of Ministers from every.
The parliamentarians only vote yes or no on the stuff that is dictated to by the council, by the commission, who are unelected, unaccountable, and can't be changed.
They decide whether it goes ahead or doesn't go ahead, can change it, amend it, and so on.
Oh, change it and amend it. So this is what they say, and this is the lie that people tell you. They say, oh, but the House of Lords isn't elected. Well, the House of Lords doesn't set the legislation. The Commission does. The Commission's unelected. So for it to be similar, the House of Lords would have to be like the Commons, and the Commons would have to be like the House of Lords. They would have to switch. So we would have unelected House of Lords members making up the policy, and it would then be rubber stamped or disagreed with in the House of Commons, which was the elected part, which would be the secondary chamber. The unelected commissioners in the House of in the EU are not elected, can be removed, you can't put legislation through them. They dictate to the actual elected body, the EU Parliament, what the legislation is. And there could be slight amendments. If you're lucky, there could be slight amendments. But that, again, they have to lie for the globalists to achieve their ambition of us not having any democratic control of the legislation that's brought forward. And that's why we Nippy and the SNP are just as globalist shills as the Conservative Party. There's no political difference, policy difference between him as a Conservative and we Nippy as some postmodernist Marxist lesbian, allegedly. They're all the same. The wokey wefters is one effective party. Oh, we hate the Tories, we hate the SNP. Well, your policies are virtually the same.
And I spent 20 odd years doing this.
What's your name, sir?
John Purvis.
John, it's not the commissioners that are actually saying what's in the actual bills.
They can draft the bills, but then...
So they're drafting the bills. So the unelected commissioners are drafting the bills, that's what I said.
They can only draft the bills, it's not the elected members that draft the bills.
Yes, well, the elected members and the council ministers tell them what they want.
No, they don't. That's not true. They don't. They can amend the bills. They don't. The elected members don't tell the commissioners what they want.
They then draft the technical details of the bills.
Right. So basically, the unelected commissioners are the power in the EU, and they are not elected. They're not held accountable, and they're basically dictated to by the wokey wefters, which it means that power is taken away from the individual and put in the hands of 28 unelected commissioners. Basically, a technocracy. In Britain. What are you guys saying? What are you guys saying? Place your bets with a wee cheeky corner. I've got an Indian there, funnily enough. Baby Guerilla'S. I found you 6 months ago, Danny. Did you? Fantastic. Glad you did. You're welcome here, buddy. Baby Guerilla'S. Hi, Dave. Hi there, Hank. How you doing, brother? Socialists. Thanks, Colin, the socialists. Steep learning one curve, David. Yeah, and this is it's a very weird thing. You've got to understand, from my point of view, it's very weird to be excellent at politics. It's a very weird situation for me to be one of the foremost political speakers, or not speakers as in orators, but one of the foremost political minds in British politics. And that's the reality. We know this. We know this. I'm not the greatest orator, and obviously with the dyslexia and the ADD, it causes problems being fluent. But my knowledge is second to none. There's nobody, even Carol Benjamin, who's far more articulate. I've told all you guys to follow Lotus Eaters. Far more articulate, great political commentary, goes more in depth on the issues. I deliberately keep it superficial to make sure you guys all follow. I don't want to get bogged down in the detail, but if you do want to get bogged down in the detail, the Lotus Eaters do a book club. Go on the Lotus Eaters website, join the Lotus Eaters. Carol covers all the commie stuff, all the European globalist stuff. Very great commentator as well. Goes into depth. Don't forget Paul Joseph Watson. Go and sign up for, I'm sure you're all in Dank's pages as well. Very funny. Probably one of the best comedians apart from Kevin Bridges in Scotland. So I'm proud to be a baby gorilla. Well done, Ken. Well done, mate. Where at least I know I'm free. Exactly, brother. And that's what it's about. I mean, you got to understand that we are... they keep saying, no, it's left versus right, by absolute dullards that don't know anything about political science. Nothing. These people who put themselves forward as political commentators don't understand political science. This isn't a left versus right fight or centre versus left or whatever. That's not what it is. This is an authoritarian fight versus a libertarian fight. This is for us to have freedom and empower the individual, not the state and not the EU. I was getting all heated there. And this is like Star Wars. This is the rebels, the Jedi fighting against the evil empire. This is what this is. And Baldy Dr. Evil, we will put you in, give you the chips. In Davos is controlling all the governments, including Turdo. We've got rid of Jacinda. We've got rid of wee Nippy. The Turdo's next. Well, I was wondering who he was going to be next. Turdo's next in Canada, but they've already steeped into the cabinets. All 5 of the political parties that you're voting for are going to be WAF adjacent or WAF compliant. The Conservatives, there's Big Nose Sunak. He's just a gimp. He's just a puppet for the Wefters, the Wookiee Wefters. He's doing all sorts in Northern Ireland. So, I mean, there is major issues. This is not left versus right. This is authoritarianism versus libertarianism. Steep learning curve. Danny, that's good, buddy. Just stay with it, brother. You're absolutely smashing it so far, John. I appreciate that. We're going to get into seeing some of this smashing it. Can you imagine? Listen, we've only had 250,000 views. Some videos, like Carol Benjamin's, one of his videos will get over 250,000 easy. He said million view single videos, right? Single videos. And we've had 500, nearly 500 podcasts up, and we've only had 250,000 views. Carol's had hundreds of thousands of people on the Lotus Eaters, on his videos of Sargon of Akkad, same with Paul Joseph Watson, even the same with Count Danker. And I don't begrudge any of them. I'm over the moon that they're all doing great, and I do not benefit from lowering somebody else's ability. I get progress if somebody else is made up. If they're prepared to help back, that's fair enough. If they're not, that's fair enough. We're not Indian givers here. It's not give to receive. The fact is that we back people who are competent, and we get into people who are politically incompetent. And I am like a bloodhound for somebody who is politically incompetent, and we've got Humza Useless potentially going to be the leader of Scotland, backed by the London Wookiee Wefter media. And that is going to be another major stain on our society, that we've got Humza Useless, anti-white racist, as our First Minister. They'll be backed by the London media, and they will smoke screen them from actual proper criticism. I'm proud to be a baby gorilla where at least I know I'm free. That's it, brother. And I won't forget David Valentine that gave the right to me. Yes, brother. And I'm glad, I'm sure that's his nice last song, and I'm gladly stand up next to you and defend him to the end. You guys are brilliant. Vote yes on Guerrilla TV channel. I love it. Thanks, Twigman. I was trying to get a bit weepy here. Curry, Davey? I've got a chickpea at what is it? I used to live with a Pakistani guy in Dubai. Nice guy, was from the UK. And he was, we used to stay in share a flat together, and we used to go out, and it's called, what is it called? Let me come back to that. So I had a cheeky korma the other night, and it was called, it's meant to be a starter, but they're trying to sell it as a main course now. I'll need to come back to it. I'll tell you later on. Vote yes for the great. I love it. Will I be curry tonight? Well, I'm not on the curries, boys. I'm on the champagne because we're celebrating our 5th birthday. Belated, mind you, but we're celebrating our 5th birthday for doing some incredible stuff. Doing some incredible stuff. What else you saying, guys? The guy in the video with that stupid EU flag is Tory in name only. Yeah, that's right, buddy. It was thought I found the Lotus Eaters. It was, Danny. That's good, mate. They're a great bunch of guys down there. Jonathan Wong and Callum, and Jonathan Wong did the petition when all the children were being raped, and both the Labour, the Liberals, the SNP were all trying to cover up, and the Conservatives, by Muslim child rape gangs, as it says in the books for them to do. It was through you, Lotus Eaters, brilliant channel with the regular uploads, mate. Lotus Eaters are great. They are all doing the wokey cokey. They certainly are, mate. Wokey wefters, WEFters, wokey wefters. That's what they are. Every one of the parties are wokey wefters. The man with the beard is right. I love this channel. Oh, man, getting teared up here. We will eat the bugs. We will not be eating the bugs. People are harassing Trudeau everywhere in Canada, yeah. And rightly so. A commie like his dad pretending he's a liberal. Now, I'm a liberal. He's certainly not a liberal. He is a horrible wee wokey wefter. And the sooner the great people of Canada get rid of him, the better. I love the Canadians. Anger, yeah. He blew it with the pandemic, yeah, that protest crackdown, but that came from Biden. That came from Joe Biden. So don't forget, the wokey wefters are not just in one country, they're all over the world. It was great to see the Indians having a go at Soros, but what of the Indian? I don't know if I can get this up. Let me see if I can get this up. Oh yeah, is this the fella? Ah yeah, that's clever. And I mean, the Indians are a clever bunch. We love the Indians in this channel as well. I used to live with 5 Indians when I was at university, and I could have left earlier, but they got me to eat the curries with yogurt, which I can now take spicier curries.
Mr. Soros is a old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works.
I like this guy. I think I need to find out what his rest of his politics are, but he seems to be on top of his game, this fella. From India. So that's very interesting as well. That's I really like the way this fellow speaks. I don't know if I can hear more of this.
Soros said India is a democratic country, but he doesn't think the Prime Minister of India is a Democrat. By the way, a few years ago, in the same conference, I was there at that time, he actually accused us of planning to strip millions of Muslims of their citizenship, which of course didn't happen. It was a ridiculous suggestion. But you have to understand what this actually means. I could take a view that the individual in question, Mr. Soros, is a old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works. Now, if I could only stop at old, rich, and opinionated, I would put it away. But he is old, rich, opinionated, and dangerous. Because what happens is when Mr. Soros...
Yeah, there you go. That's another megalomaniac with the other megalomaniac. Leads the bugs. So, that was quite interesting as well. Very interesting. But I mean, it just shows you what we've been doing here. I mean, it's when you look back on it, it shows you how the channel's been suppressed, because, let's be honest, it's been a fascinating ride, absolutely fascinating. Let's go back. So I wanted to jump on here. So let's go and try and do it this way. Your channel, let's do it this way. And let's do it by popularity. Oh my goodness. So what are my most popular? Oh my God. See, I think, so these are the top 6. But when you go into home and you go into my most popular videos, this is them. So it's not the same ones. So the live ones and the ones in which you're actually going through popularity, and the ones here are not the same ones. So let's go for my most popular video with hundreds of likes. Now, this channel, after 5 years, is sitting at 97% likes. 97%, which I think is absolutely incredible. I would have thought maybe about between 40 and 60. To have 97% likes, thanks to you guys, to me is just absolutely unbelievable. And I'm just so pleased for you guys helping and watching the channel. Let's hear this guy here. Let's hear this wee guy. Woo!
Unbelievable news, good, bad.
Now, this is how close I was to helping my fellow countrymen and sink Nicola Sturgeon 2 years ago. I was that close. For a small YouTube channel, a new company, I was that close to sinking the First Minister 2 years ago.
Fantastic, not quite sure where to start. Let's start with Wee Nippy. So what's happening with Wee Nippy? Wee Nippy is now being forced.
And don't forget now, it's pretty sure it's corrupt. I'll have covered that later on. And now we've got a situation where we have a lack of depth of talent in the SNP. They are not really up to the job. And we're going to see a decline in the SNP now. And probably an incline in Labour, who are equally as bad.
As I said, she was trying to cover up her sneaky abuse of power by refusing to give the documentation for the legal advice that she received to the committee that was investigating her and her husband's abuse of power to the Scottish Parliament with regards to the Alex Salmond inquiry, where he was found not guilty of any sexual impact.
And really, you can see why people have sound, but you can hear the sound on this is getting better as well. So it's progressing slightly But even like hair and makeup, you don't think about these sort of things to actually how much that guys that are on the TV and other journalists put into their appearance as well. And that's something that would actually probably happen over time as well. But it just shows you how I've changed, how things have actually progressed, how the sound, how my shooting's progressed. It's just all progressed gradually over the time. But what hasn't stopped or hasn't diminished is the quality of political analysis that I've done, to the extent where we're actually bringing down politicians who are no use. Now, this was 2 years ago, 34,000 views. I've had some amazing comments, amazing. I can't thank the guys enough who have commented, and the positivity. This has had over 1,000 likes, 34,000 views for a political channel. Now, that's not even great for a political channel. There's, on a single video, I told you, on a single video, for the 5 years that we've been out and going, a single video has had multiple times the amount of views that I've had over the last 5 years, which probably means we're being suppressed, and our subscriptions have been suppressed. But even from a suppressed, lacking in subscriptions, lacking in any sort of return, I've never been paid by YouTube so far, having multiple strikes to the point where we could get deleted, I have still nearly brought down politicians, First Ministers and Prime Ministers. We'll go into the Prime Ministers later. But let's have a wee read of what the commentary is. Malfeasance of office is very serious crime and carries a criminal custodial sentence here in the UK. You should check your laws to ensure she isn't getting off easy. Good show, Scotland. I think it's talking about me. You're on the pulse. Well done, mate. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. A Scottish brave speaks out. I mean, really, honestly, it makes me well up some of these times. Look like she was guilty of attempting to pervert the course of justice, a serious criminal offence. This is wonderful news if true. I find Sturgeon the most duplicitous and arrogant of politicians, and for a party leader is well, wait till you meet Humza Useless, and says more about the rest of the SNP politicians at Holyrood. Several, we've got very bad political cast in Holyrood and as MPs. She lied all her life, and more importantly about her lifestyle. Postal ballots were one of the late Tony Blair's, obviously Tony Blair being a shill for the wefter. He's the biggest wokey wefter. Carol Benjamin thinks it's from the Social Democratic point of view, but I would suggest to Carol that he is, because the WEF has been going for 50 years, this is well before before Tony Blair even got in. Tony Blair is probably like Turdo, like Jacinda, a puppet of the WEF, and his social democracy, his wokey wefter politics, which all the other, even the Conservative politicians have followed, are a stem back to the Baldy Dr. Evil and what's happening in Davos. I agree with you. However, we all know the SNP have a rule for the nation and a rule for themselves. Yeah, don't do as I do as I tell you. Yeah, rules for them, not for me. That's because they're a bunch of communists. By Her Holiness Saint Wee Jimmy Cranky is infallible. Be happy day of my life if she gets thrown out. Well, she didn't get thrown out, she resigned. With the missing 600,000. Sir, I have not come across your channel before, but you are spot on, and also the fact you go to the trouble of wearing a tie shows you have some respect for me. Yeah, that's true, boss, that's true. Thank you, Ashton, Mr. Ashton. A person who you've never met or heard of. And pull yourself together, and all your viewers. We Jimmy Sturgeon has been an arrogant fool of pride, and pride comes before a fall. Well, it took 2 years from that video, but she did fall. In years to come, people remember this war against humanity and teach their grandchildren to sing the days of Killer Cranky. Very good. And the guys have also made me laugh, man. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely hilarious. It's not a parliament, it's an assembly, it's a parliament. The argument, it's a very ugly building for a parliament, mind you. Needs to be, if the postal ballots, how can you guarantee the vote has not been corroded? Yeah, you can, mate. You need to get a political party who's going to take the election process seriously. This is brilliant because it means if she's forced to resign and it makes SNP look bad, well, I think we've got Humza Useless. Humza Useless is going to make the SNP look bad. Let's pray that happens. Will be a day to rejoice. We have a vote. You have my vote. Good work. Thanks very much, Andy. Should be iCard and no postal votes. And it's going to be very interesting when I start to put myself forward again to find out what sort of impact I have had, and if there's maybe certain areas that have responded to me better than other areas. But it'll be very interesting to see when we start to develop policy for the new political party, what actually happens. Right, so that's quite interesting. Keep going, David.
Proprieties. So she's been covering up, and oh, look over there, look over there. And now the Parliament in here, for the first time I think in a long time, has done its job. Alex McNeil, I think, who's friendly with Mr. Salmond, refused to...
Alex Neil, sorry, Mr. Neil, my mistake.
Go along.
And Mr. Neil has also told us that Humza Useless was told by the mosque not to vote on same-sex marriage because of his extremist views that in a Sharia-compliant Muslim country, they kill homosexuals. 13 countries who are Muslim majority kill homosexuals.
There was 5 abstentions from the SNP. Obviously, they did the right thing. 50, I think 53, was it 54? 54 to I think 63 in favour of the government being required to release the documentation. The Alex Salmond side has said that it will show that there has been a cover-up, and not even a cover-up, but that Nicola Sturgeon has gone against the legal advice of the people that advise the government, the legal entity that advised the government, and went ahead with a prosecution that they knew that she couldn't win.
Wow. So let's wow. So the second biggest one is this one. So, oh, that's good videos. Oh, look at that. That's a different one. So the videos popular and the live popular are two different ones. So this is me going and helping Tommy Robinson because he was being abused by the British state.
Just a quick update on what's happening with Tommy.
I noticed there's no advertising on this video.
Tommy Robinson. I phoned the Home Office today to find out if Sajid Javid...
Spit out, Dave.
It was the person who was involved in the transfer of Tommy Robinson to Leicester Prison. And I don't think... I've been told by the Home Office that it was the Justice Office or the Justice Department, who is run by David Gauck.
So we get 15,000 views for that. What needs to happen, in my humble American opinion, is every person in the UK with a camera or phone needs to go and cover these gangs. Yeah, I seriously hope all native Brits and Tommy supporters realise just how serious this gets. The world is watching. Well, let me just go into this. Look, there's Humza useless. The trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots, says Humza Useless, who's going to be made the First Minister and leader of the Scottish National Party in name only. Not that he's going to be First Minister in name only. The Scottish National Party is in name only. It would be better called the Globalist Postmodernist Marxist Party, Islamic Globalist Postmodernist Marxist Party. So let's hear a wee bit of our Jewish and Muslim friends in the UK.
How many non-Muslims live in Somalia?
Alhamdulillah, every single Somali tribe is Muslim. Every single Somali, Alhamdulillah.
What do you mean, Alhamdulillah? Imagine if the white Englishman stood here and said, Alhamdulillah, thank God there's no Muslims here. Thank God there's no Jews here. Thank God there's only white English people here. Alhamdulillah, what would you say?
Well, the English came from Germany, that's why they're called English. Although I think only 10% of the English population are ethnically English, so some of them are actually the proper Celtic British. They're not actually, and even some of the English people who are actually ethnically English, not culturally. I mean, even we're culturally English now, we've been anglicised. The original language in Scotland was not Gaelic, it was Welsh. It was Welsh. We were speaking Welsh, not Gaelic. This sort of notion that we were speaking Irish is not. It was I think a P. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Q, and Irish is a P. Celtic country, but the English came from Germany as well. So England is the land of the Angles is Germany, apparently.
You would say you're a bigot and a racist, no? Or do you support the BNP?
I don't support
you don't. Why don't you support the BNP? Because they don't want you here.
Ask me about my country. Let me respond. You as a Jew, to you, this is also logical. You accept there is only one God.
We believe Tawheed. We believe there's one God.
So
we believe La ilaha illallah.
So what
That's
is
not the point.
So what is the problem?
The problem is you said something that would be deeply offensive to every ethnic minority in the UK if a white Englishman said it to you. How many non-Muslims?
Oh, quite interesting. So, rules for thee but not for me. Quite interesting on the back of that. What are you guys saying? What are we saying here? The beard and the booming. The beard is booming, yeah. Years and it's the cow shed. It looks like it's just it's obvious it's a postmodernist eyesore. Colin Humza Useless will be a hate crime if he leads the gay mafia SNP. Imagine having a Muslim leading the gay mafia. I mean, really, off with their heads. The last thing they'll be getting is free flying lessons right off the minarets. So you used to having a beard. Now, mate, well, the beard is for other reasons, which I won't really want to go into, but I have a beard and longer hair for other reasons. I wouldn't necessarily be looking like this. I'd be looking different. And I would, even in that last video, I would be looking different. You do, man. Oh, it's great. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Late to the party. How you doing, mate? It was great seeing you at the Edinburgh Freedom Rally. Yeah, mate, thank you very much, brother. So, what's happening here? Right, so where are we? Right, so this is now, I don't really, let me clarify my relationship with Tommy Robinson. James English has spoken to Tommy Robinson longer than I've ever spoken to Tommy Robinson. All I've had is a couple of sentences with Tommy Robinson. For us going right down from Scotland down to London to basically televise to support him because he was being persecuted by the British state for reporting on Muslim child rape gangs was for me it was just absolutely disgusting that was happening anyway, and I would be more than happy to support him anyway. Our relationship hasn't been really that sort of great. and I don't know why. He seems to have a wee issue, but I'm glad James English has done a couple of interviews with him, and I'm glad he's helped him out as well. So, and James is doing absolutely great. James gets more in one episode of James English show than I do in 5 years. But I always knew that. I always knew that the market for what I did was going to be limited. But I also knew that once I actually got up and going, that people would see the ability for me to change politics, even though we've got a small viewership, a small subscribership, small number of people watching the videos. I knew once it was going that we would change things.
Who actually signed off on the transfer of Tommy Robinson to Leicester.
So this is me basically covering the fact that there was allegations that he was going to be moved in a jail that was heavily populated by Muslims. Who one of the other guys who's a podcaster, what's his name? Gary, what's his name? He's a gangster, or was a reform gangster from Liverpool. Had said that the Muslims are the biggest gang now in prison, and this has been done deliberately to intimidate other prisoners to forced adoption of Islam, which is a deeply misogynistic, pro-rape ideology, pro-child rape ideology, which Humza Useless will become our first Muslim Home Secretary, our first Minister. But I mean, Robert the Bruce, you would be able to get free energy, because all we need to do is tie a generator onto Robert the Bruce's body, and he'd be spinning in his grave, knowing that the so-called Scottish nationalists, when his heart was taken in crusade to fight against Islam in the Moors in Spain, because they were raping children over there, way back in that sense, in the 14th century, that we spin this game that we nippy and the so-called Scottish nationalists were bringing in a Muslim as our first minister. I mean, they'd be spinning their graves, but that's thanks to Baldy Dr. Evil and the open borders that are being done by the Wokey Wefters. So, what are we down to? So that's 14,000. Let's see if we go back to this, see what's more popular. We get more popular than 14,000? No. So let's go and see this one. So, 14,000.
And to publish its report, which is going to not find anybody guilty of anything, nothing to see here, nothing at all, and recommendations next month. So we're going to get a cover-up here, a political cover-up, and that's what's going to happen now. Given the impact of the recent court judgments, which goes against Nicola Sturgeon, and now the pressure, the walls are really coming in, there is going to be confirmed details of the fact that the meeting was held between Jeff Aberdeen, Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond. They're going to corroborate the fact that Nicola Sturgeon was at the meeting on the 29th of March and lied. And now
it's just absolutely brilliant. And that was what? How many views did this get? 207 likes and 14,000 views. As my mum used to say, they only in it to feather their own nests. Glad to see the views racking up on your videos, sir. Thank you, Scott. People finally waking up to this lot. Cheers to that, brother. Cannot believe a word she sends. She will talk her way out of anything SNP discussing untrustworthiness. Yeah, Spectator has Alex's defence statement. Read it for yourselves. So that was for 14,000 views. And what I've got. So we basically, the channel also covers people who are being persecuted by the state, and obviously one of our friends. So I'll go to the one with 6,000 views because Count Dank, and this is quite a short one anyway. but Count Dank was also being persecuted by the state, because the state loves to persecute easy targets. That's what they do. They love to persecute the working class. So let's see the Count, who did nothing wrong, by the way.
Oh, here we go. We're going out live, are we? There's the man there. So do you want to say anything to the Liberalist March just now that's happening down south in London now?
Best of luck to everybody that's down in London today. £800 fine, not that bad, but I'm still appealing the fucker. Just keep an eye out for Antifa. Everyone stay safe. Don't be violent. And Sargon, I can't wait until you give your speech where you try and say that Mike Enoch was right.
Amen, Enoch Powell. Yeah, a couple of edgy boys.
But just best of luck to everybody.
And I think I was laughing at the fact that I knew he made a mistake there.
Down in London today, I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, fantastic. Well, tell us about the sentence. What happened then?
I basically I got my lawyer to tell the judge that I'm going to reject any punishment that is given to me, and I'm fully prepared to go to jail for this. The judge basically decided to just give me a fine anyway. I'm not paying it. I'm appealing it, so the appeal's going to go. A GoFundMe should go up tonight for the appeal, because we need to remove this precedent. Because what happened to me with this precedent being set means it can happen to anybody else, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
That's great. So how long is it going to take for the appeal to come through then? A few months?
Aye.
Well, that's great then. So we're all over the moon, so we're all going to get drunk, can't we?
Aye, well, I'm going to get steaming, aye.
And good luck with the guys down in the Liberalist March as well then, for supporting you guys down in London as well. It's out with their jurisdiction, but I think that's great, the fact that they've all turned up as well.
No, it's brilliant, honestly. Best of luck, guys. Best of luck today.
Thanks very much. Thanks for you, and good luck. Well done, mate. Well done.
Cheers.
So, and this was before, this is obviously at the trial, and Dank had still to blow up, really as big as he's got. Let's how you look at old Danky Boys. Let's how you look at Dank's current. This is just one of his channels. So Dank's got 1.1 million. What is that? So 1,010,000, I think. At least maybe about 1,020,000. And he's had millions. I mean, he's getting 180,000 views per video. Now, when he had started, before he had made the pug joke, he had only got 6 or 8 people on his channel. And now look at it, he's absolutely going from strength to strength. He's got a wee business like Carol for the Lotus Eaters. And this is it's just terrific what he's done. 2.7 million, that's just what I'm saying. So my 5 years of doing my political channel would cover basically one of his. There would cover this video here, Space Mission, where everything went wrong. And he's doing it's great as well. He's got the Mad Lads series, and he's gone from strength to strength, and we were glad to be able to help him at this stage. So what else we got? So then we covered him at trial, and one of the guys who I knew was who actually organised this, and rightly so, one of the guys from the Scottish Libertarian Party. But there was all sorts of libertarians there. There was libertarian liberals or classical liberals.
Where are you here from, sir? Sky, fantastic. Guerrilla TV channel. So we're going live just now. So yeah. What's the Sky viewers saying about this then? Of ramifications, isn't it, for the SNP? Well, I would think so. If you start to imprison comedians telling jokes, I think that's a very slippery sort of path to take, isn't it?
So not really keen on actually having that sort of chat there. But I think he's obviously he thinks that Dank was being in some way anti-Semitic, but Dank's been on Viva Fries, and a lot of Jewish commentators, and David Nabil came out and supported him, rightly so, very clever of him, because it was very much he was actually saying things against the Nazis. So I didn't really get where they were actually taking the moral high ground from. But so met some really nice people there as well, really. So the problem with this video is that I didn't have an external mic, and I didn't realise at this point that the mic on the phone was facing forward, so the part where you actually view is the part where the mic is, so you can only hear me, and what you really needed, which I've got obviously now, is an external mic. And I feel really sad that a lot of these great commentators and commentary from the people I wasn't able to capture.
Then you can get fucked. Your license taken away. You're not fit for the job.
Do you think? Yeah, go on. Do you think there's a requirement maybe to have an overhaul of the Scottish judicial system? Do you think there's bigger problems in?
You need to overhaul the whole UK system, which is an American-style constitution, which specifically says no government. You can't do whatever the fuck you want because you want.
Yeah. So
brilliant comment. Brilliant. So that was great. I really enjoyed that. I wish that they could clear or increase the volume from the other people speaking. I don't know how you would do that, but I would love to hear them more clearly. It's very sad that I didn't know that the reverse side didn't have a mic, and that's on the iPhone, which is a bit of a shame. So, but that was a great day as well. Another fantastic, excellent reporting. You're doing great work. I mean, honestly, the comments have been very touching. I can't help, and when I got later in the day as well, let me just bring this forward. I mean, the amount of great people I met as well. Oh, there's Kaz.
Alienated themselves in arguments and debate. It can't happen.
It's disgusting, isn't it, really? I mean, it's absolutely disgusting.
Nice fella. He gets a lot of votes for the Scottish Libertarian Party in Fife. He does very well for the Scottish Libertarian Party.
And do you think?
And also in films as well.
Now the big differentiation is not being between left and right in the politics. It's going to be between the libertarians versus the authoritarians.
Certainly, I mean, we're now seeing a more blur in the political spectrum. It now seems to be more of an argument between control and freedom, and more and more people seem to be leaning towards the freedom side, and that's what we care about the most. Where you sit on the left right of the spectrum is irrelevant when it comes to issues like this. It's where you sit on the up-down side of the spectrum, and quite frankly, we're seeing more and more of the establishment pushing its way up the authoritarian side, and the fact that we've got so many people here to stand against it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great, and.
Great. And Kaz Paul, his name is, so if you want to go and try and find him as well, he's absolutely terrific.
Slightly.
Here is how you can generate all these ad creatives under 1 minute. So,
I'm sure YouTube's made some money out of the marketing of my videos. Not that they've been passing on that, shall we say.
Trivial than this matter, and they've got a statue to Frederick Engels in Manchester, who basically wrote in Marx's journal that there should be a genocide against the Scots, the Basques, the Bretons. It was all in Marx's journal. So.
Neuer Rancid Scheitum.
I'm just curious.
That's the name of the journal that Engels wrote in.
To know if there's a double standard here. And there was obviously like people in London from a religious group who were talking about beheading people with signs that said to behead people. So is the difference between...
I think the most important thing is the police here are politically neutral.
Right, okay.
And that's the important thing for me, so I'm not going to start taking sides in any sort of argument. What we're here to do is...
But this is a political...
What we're here to do is make sure people are safe, they have their say, folk are allowed to go about their business.
Fantastic. Oh, there he is there, young Thomas.
We have a celebrity here. Mr. Tam Laird, how you doing, Tam? You well? Good to see you. Good to see you. We're going live on the Guerrilla TV channel.
Brilliant Lanarkshire weather.
You came suited and booted. That's you came.
It was absolutely
sunny. I know. So it was. I came through in a suit and I'm not even got an overcoat. Right, so Mr. Laird, just to let people know who you are the leader of the Scottish Libertarian Party, which is the up and coming party in Scotland, now the 7th largest, isn't it, by number of people?
Well, that's it. We certainly were at the last council election. But whether that's still the case, I wouldn't like to. I don't fancy a chance to be the 7th, maybe at a general election, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Growing all the time.
Yeah, and you've got a Libertarian students.
We have a Libertarian students wing. Our student coordinator is currently in Prague. He was at the conference for the International Alliance of Libertarian Parties in Prague.
And do you think and over the years there's going to be a big split between libertarian people who are in the libertarian bent and the authoritarian, which this is a clear issue?
I think that split's always been there. I think it's just going to become more profound.
And why are you here then? Why does the party represent this?
Straightforward free speech issue. If not us, then who else? The mainstream parties have been shamefully silent on this issue. So if we don't do it, I don't know who else is. Where are they? Where is the voices? What are the Conservative Party in Scotland for? Other than looking out for their own stinking lousy careers, rather than sticking their neck out and saying, look, we might not agree with this.
I think you could say that for any of. I'm sure I'm not going to get copyright off my own stuff, but and to interject and speak over it. But I think you could say that with any of the 5 main political parties, even the Tranny Commie Party.
I think what his joke was funny, but to actually deprive somebody of their liberty over what amounts to an online joke, albeit offensive, is absolute nonsense.
As the Conservative Party,
this individual.
And it says
it's very interesting. You can actually see it jump. It looks like it's been edited online.
A very scary precedence in the fact that people are now able to be imprisoned for making jokes. Apparently now.
Apparently, yeah, and if it's because they didn't find the joke funny. I mean, if we're going to start jailing comedians because they're not funny, why is Kate Smurthwaite no day in life?
That's brilliant.
Very good, Tom. Very good. Boom, boom.
That's excellent. So, what do you think? What do you think the outcome is going to happen then? What do you think?
I hope he gets admonished. I can't see it. Look, whatever happens, it's a scandal. The fact that this guy's lost 2 years of his life already, he's lost his job, he's been hounded, he's been under stress for that great period of time, he's had to move house. I think the best they could do, I think the least they could do is admonish him. However, I think they're out, after this length of time, I think they're out to make an example. I think sadly they might give him a custodial sentence. If that's the case, then it's even more of a scandal.
And it's quite strange that they've not had a jury trial and they've actually just had a judge actually.
It's a kangaroo court, that is exactly what it is. I don't know much about the prosecutor. I heard they dragged him out of retirement, screaming for retirement to take up this case. So, yeah. Kangaroo Court probably gives it far too much credit.
And we've got the guys, you're representing the guys there, Scottish Libertarian Party. I mean, how long has the Scottish Libertarian Party been going? What's the sort of background to the Libertarian Party? It's relatively new, isn't it, in Scottish politics?
In Scottish politics, we've been on the go for about 5 years, as a proper party, standing in elections and so forth. I wouldn't say split, we moved away from the UK Libertarian Party a few years back because we felt that was the way it was going in Scotland. It looks as if not independence, then it's going to get more devolved. Why have, the last thing Libertarians believe in is a centralised form of government, so why have a centralised Libertarian Party? Let's move it to Scotland so we can make our own decisions, get things done, move faster. And it's we're growing quite well. I'm happy with progress in the party.
What I was going to say, what's the progress now for the Libertarians in Scotland then?
Well, we'll see how much of a dent we can make here today. The next, obviously, what's on the cards is trying to get as many candidates as we possibly can. It's all down to money, funding. Get as many candidates as we possibly can for the next Scottish elections. That's our next big goal.
Seems to be a lot of liberalists here as well. A lot of the guys who are sort of Argon, Carol Benjamin, Argon of ACAD.
Sorry, Carol butchered that. Sargon of Akkad, spit it out, Dave.
Yeah, Sargon of Akkad.
Sargon of Akkad, sorry.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So, a great bunch. Let's see if we can just speed it up to get the tank. There's TR. Let's have a look at this. So I've got nothing against Tommy Robinson or any. Some of the guys were very nice down there. I understand why they were doing what they were doing. They weren't bad guys at all. And what I would think that some of them must have been in the English Defence League. Certainly weren't Nazis or racist, but they did have a problem with Islam, and Islam is a problem. So I don't. And it's been deliberately done to distract from the WEF agenda. That's what Islam has been brought into the UK. Islam is the Conservatives have already signed us up. The globalist Conservatives, the Wookiee wefters, have already signed us up to the Barcelona process, the Union of the Mediterranean, and now the UN refugee in Marrakesh. And they've already done this. The reason that all these fake refugees are in hotels and they're like Antifa and other groups are paid, and NGOs, they're all paid by the Conservatives to bring in a new populace because they believe in population replacement while reducing the indigenous population's birth rate. So we're basically got population replacement. And what Tommy Robinson was complaining was that gangs of Muslims were putting children on heroin, making them junkies, and then prostituting them. And one of his cousins was one of these victims, which we now know has happened all over the UK. It's not just somebody's opinion. It's been documented. Sorry, it's been documented all over the UK. It's not just somebody's opinion. And I was running. That's another thing. Actually getting a battery pack because I was running out of battery, and you run out of battery when you first start off with at the wrong time. And I don't know if I actually got the count actually coming out of the courtroom, but there's some very interesting chats with Tommy Robinson and the rest of the guys there. So that was quite interesting. I don't know, there was quite a lot of no comments. So there was some great stuff on it as well. All I have to say is hello. Next time, point your mic in the interviews. Good job otherwise. So it just shows you that you can actually make a difference in these sort of things. But get the right equipment. If your phone needs an external mic, and you also need a power supply. The difficulty is you've only got one input. This is for Apple. You've only got one input, so what you really need is two inputs, one for the audio and one for the power supply, so that you can have your audio attached and also your power supply at the same time. Because sometimes you're doing an interview, your power's going down, and by actually changing it, you would have to be able to swap it around, and that's another thing you can't do on the iPhone 10. Can't swap it around in the middle of the interview. I don't know if future iPhones are actually doing that. I'll be able to tell you when the iPhone 15's out, and that's going to be another problem, trying to decipher what that takes to power up and external mics and things like that as well when it comes out in September. So that was quite interesting as well. So Count Dank only get £800 fine. We were on it right from the start. We were critical of the government. We did other things about Count Dank, and we saved the day for Count Dank not going to jail. And that was pretty great for us. So, what else have we got? Oh, this is a good one. This is a short one, short but sweet. 11,000 views and climbing.
This is top 40. There's been allegations that Nicola Sturgeon's a lesbian. Is that why she's complicating? Is that top 40?
This is so funny. Now I think this is Alex Salmon's wife telling me to fuck off.
There's been allegations that Nicola Sturgeon's a lesbian. Is that why she's complicating? Is that why she's making
Now, that looks like Alex smiling. Definitely. I don't know about you, but that looks like Alex Salmon smiling. Let's just see if we can get this a wee bit further up. Now, the worst thing you want is some journalist shouting at you questions when you're in the middle of multiple fake sexual assault charges, who allegedly that Nicola Sturgeon went trolling for. So, to actually have some journalist shout questions at you is not exactly the best situation, but to make him smile during that difficult period, and Alex Salmon is a very intelligent man, which is quite a feat for me.
Is that why she's complicating? Is that why she's making... This is 40. There's been allegations that Nicola Sturgeon's a lesbian. Is that why she's complicating? Is that why...
Now, it's important to say, I haven't just randomly pulled out the Nicola Sturgeon's a lesbian. We in Scotland already know that she shacked up, certainly whatever they're saying is she shacked up in Andy Murray's mother's ex-house with a French fancy, who, funnily enough, she actually was photographed seen in Egypt in COP27 for a wee jolly. So, paid by the taxpayers' expense.
Why she's making legislation for heterosexual sex?
Well, I would say she was making misandrous legislation, but that's quite funny. That she obviously hates straight white men. That's probably the reason why she's not married to one.
What's that?
What? So I'm harassed by the police. So obviously Humza Useless, the Justice Secretary, has got the police, and I don't blame the police, by the way. I just like to say that I don't have any gripe against the police. I understand who's doing it, and I'm not really playing on the police's level. No, that's not the police. They're stupid by any stretch of the imagination. But the gripes that are going on is not me versus the police. The police are only a tool of the state.
Why not just... You just interfered with the press there, officer. Why did you do that?
Because we've been asked to.
Because asked to by who?
To facilitate her getting out of court.
I was behind barriers, officer. You don't ever do that again, please, officer. That's a distinct lack of etiquette for the press. Thank you very much.
So that was like, and this is what I'm saying about the comments. The comments are absolutely brilliant. Daniel Staines, thank you, Mr. Staines. Police enforcers, rights tramplers, free speech destroyers. Well done, Davy, asking the real questions. I believe she has a French lesbian lover holed up in a house she bought from Judy Murray at Bridge of Allen, and by the size of it, it's violent. It's a violent relationship. Lovely First Minister. So people know. The thought police. There you go, Ewan. Well done, mate. Well done. The typical behaviour of a bad cop. Listen. This is where I would like you to understand. I don't think it's the police that are doing this. This is coming for the wokey wefter across the political spectrum. This is coming from the wokey wefter brigade, who are controlling the police. The police are only an instrument of the state, especially when it comes to actual crimes. They're then there to look after actual crimes, which are becoming increasingly bad at. But what they're actually doing has now become political, and they're being politicised by the wokey wefters. Queen shit, we love you, lesbian queen. SNP police. Let me see if I can get this fella up. I really like this guy. Let me see who does this. So this fella even get 40. This fella commented my video got 40,000 likes or 40,000 comments on me being harassed, which I got 2,000 views. Not that I'm jealous of him either. I'm just saying, I'm merely pointing out on the commentary of my video, he's got something like 45,000 views, but on my video, he has now only got where is this? Copyright. I've only got 2,000 on the same thing, but this guy's great as well, nice fella.
The people I train.
So, excellent commentary. When a police officer makes an allegation, they always ask for the rationale they have used to describe the behaviour they have witnessed that led them to conclude that particular allegations is appropriate. There's some great comments in this as well. These cops are simply traitors. As long as the police are restricting people's rights, they are happy. You go to jail now for holding treacherous MPs to account. Brilliant. These guys are absolutely superb. So this is police abusing powers, which obviously we know from Count Dankula. So let's, that's the name of this channel.
We must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
I'm going to skip the first wee bit.
In other words, to hold your own opinions and that is the fundamental right to expression. In other words, to hold your own opinions and to express them freely without government interference. Now, when I say I haven't spoke about this much, I mean in the context that I'm about to. This includes the right to express your views aloud, for example, through public protests and demonstrations, or through published articles, books or leaflets, television or radio broadcasting, works of art, the internet and social media. In fact, equalityhumanrights.com gives a use case example that states, this right is particularly important for journalists or other people working in the media. They must be free to criticise the government and our public institutions without fear of prosecution. This is a vital feature of a democratic society. But that doesn't prevent the state from imposing restrictions on the media in order to protect other human rights, such as a person's right to respect for their private life. Now, with that in mind and understanding that the police attestation, this is where they're sworn in as police constables, specifically states upholding fundamental human rights and according equal respect to all people. Then how is it so often we see the police failing to do just that? In the following example, you're going to see David Ballantyne from the Guerrilla TV channel. I'm going to pop a link in the description and I'm going to pop it up here.
Well, we've more than doubled the subscription to that point. Thank you very much, sir.
One of these corners as well. He's outside a building, I believe is in Scotland, where he's attempting to speak to some politicians.
Scottish Parliament.
But he's abruptly and rudely interrupted by some police staff who have clearly forgotten their own attestation in order to conjure up a potential crime based on this guy simply trying to practice his human right to expression, which, as I've said, equalityhumanrights.com states is particularly important for journalists and people working in the media, and that they must be free to criticise the government and our public institutions without fear of prosecution. So, with all that said, let's get into this and see just how badly these police staff want to violate David's rights.
Do online. I'm David Ballantyne.
Hello, David.
And I am on the Guerilla TV channel. I'm an online political channel. Right. I cover all both Westminster and it's already
and Hollywood politics. Thanks, Dave. Carry on.
Up on the internet.
Right.
Certainly not a security risk. I've been about in both Westminster
and Hollywood
politics. Was it Mr. Whiteman that flagged me up as
I'm a known to the police. What I should have said there was, are you known to the police?
Security at the Parliament. You've been spotted on CCTV hanging about the staff entrance.
Oh, this, do you mean here?
And the staff exit up the road.
So what they're trying to do is prevent, because they obviously, it's nothing to do with threats or anything else. This is to do with me being outside the bubble. Outside, this is why Peter the Plonker will come in a minute. This is me being outside the bubble and being able to hold them to account that the current media do not do. It's me holding them to account. It's not the mainstream media. That's why Humza Useless will win it, even though Humza Useless is the worst candidate.
Now, I don't know where this building is, so I'm not able to check. But if the exit and entrance leads out onto a public area, then there is no reason for the police to be involved. The guy is clearly not loitering. They know that because he's told them. Loitering being the act of hanging around somewhere with no real intent or intention of doing anything. But this guy clearly has.
I just walked up to see, but as I said, we're a Guerrilla TV channel.
Right,
So
I'm not quite sure what a Guerrilla TV channel.
Well, everybody knows what the Guerilla TV channel is these days.
No, that's
internationally.
The name of it. The name of it is the Guerilla TV channel, and we cover politics and politicians.
Right, so what are you here specifically today for?
If we can get a politician, we want to have a comment with them.
You're not going to get to speak to politicians because they don't come out this way.
Oh really? Oh really?
No.
Well, right, that's fine. Well, obviously I wouldn't flag this up, but if they've got a special interest, but we will be talking to politicians anyway, officer. So that's what they're there for. They're there to represent us. So that's why we are here to actually hold them to account.
You're saying we, it's only you that's here.
Is any of our baby gorillas here as well?
You say we, but there's only you here. Well, clearly there's two people there, first of all, and secondly, why do the police...
That's great commentary there, isn't it?
...feel that they have to be so petulant?
Because I'll explain why they're doing them, and it's possibly not for the obvious. The political class do not want somebody like me who asks real questions and actually is able to take them to bits. Because whether it's me acting as the media or me acting as a politician, obviously if a woman can define themselves as a man, I can actually, or a man can define themselves as a woman, I can define myself in any role I want, including a policeman or a judge. I'm a judge now. I identify as a judge. So don't be cheeky, Mr. Policeman. But what they don't want is somebody like me who understands the bigger game actually out debating them. That's the last thing, because it would show up the incompetence of our political class for what they are, a bunch of buffoons.
Almost like they've always got to get one up on the people that they're talking to.
It's a particular politician you want to speak to?
We cover all politicians.
Right.
Well, we follow politics and all politicians.
Are you aware that there's a process you go through to get into
they don't do that. They just...
Oh, I need to come back to that. I need to get Humza Useless. Where is it? Because it just follows on so beautifully. Humza Useless. Right, let's see. Officer Jack. Love Officer Jack. Where is that one? Oh, am I going to be able to find it? Where is that? Officer Jack. Officer Jack. Oh, let's see. Officer Jack. Officer Jack. Officer Jack. Where is he? Humza Useless. I think it's about 1,000. I think it had nearly 1,000. Just below 1,000. Officer Jack. Oh, there it is. Humza Useless.
Welcome to Apple and Bears. We create unique body lotion.
Live, come on, let's get pretty excited. Let's go. Protecting people's freedoms of speech. Let's go. Thought this was rather interesting.
Yeah, there's nobody here who will speak to you.
Oh, there's nobody willing to speak to you at this moment. Okay.
You can actually hear the buzzing of the mic because it was a poor mic. So obviously I improved the mic for you guys, got a wee sound cloud, so that was terrific as well. That certainly improved the quality of the transmissions as well, which was absolutely fantastic. So carry on, Officer Jack.
Let's do it through the official channels, shall we?
But it's the government, they're meant to be held accountable. I've not disagreed with you.
Is to move on from here.
Right, so I'm not allowed to take interviews with the politicians, have you said?
The protocols and channels to go through it. Let's have a wee look at this. Oh, Humza Useless. Oh, here's the protocols and channels to go through it. Now, I've been sitting in this because you can see this has been from the 7th of May 2020. So this is from the Honourable Member Humza Useless. And what has Humza Useless said? Let's have a look at that. David Ballantyne, Guerilla TV Channel Limited is Guerilla TV Channel at gmail.com. This is from the Scottish Government's official lettering. It looks beautiful. And a bit of Gaelic there, fantastic. Says the Cabinet Secretary for Justice. I think that's quite funny, isn't it? That's a bit of a oxymoron, having Humza Useless as the Minister for Justice. At least they've got a sense of humour in the SNP. They're not making false sexual allegations against former First Ministers. They're covering up the rape of children by fake asylum seekers. It's quite entertaining, this. 3 people getting murdered by a Muslim on the streets of Glasgow. Oh, look over there, look over there. Let's see what Mr. Useless... Because obviously going through the proper protocols, Mr. Useless is obviously going to give me an interview and actually get to speak to him because he's a big free speech advocate. Oh, fantastic. Mr. Useless, are you going to speak to me, please, Mr. Useless? I know you're very important. Thank you for your email dated the 29th of April. So you can see this is a number of months ago, which I correctly pointed out that they weren't doing what the job that they were meant to be doing. No wonder they don't want to talk to me. 29th of April 2020 to the Cabinet Secretary for Justice, Humza Useless, MSP, inviting him to a meeting with the Guerrilla TV channel Limited to discuss equality issues. Equality. Don't think it's equality that you're doing. I think it's discrimination issues that you're doing, isn't it? It's your new disgusting hate speech bill. But you obviously want to interact, don't you? You want to get your message out, and you don't want any dissenting voices, do you? Oh, that's going to be great because you're such a free speech advocate, being an Islamo-fascist and a member of an Islamo-Marxist political party, an authoritarian and globalist in its core, and basically anti-freedom of speech, anti-individuals. Unfortunately, due to existing diary pressures, well, that's not just a get out of jail free, isn't it? I wouldn't like to talk to anybody that might hold slightly different opinions or want to cross-examine you in anything. I'm sure you're very busy coming up with more intuitive and ingenious plans to prevent people speaking and putting them in jail for 7 years. The Cabinet Secretary is unable to accept your kind invitation on this occasion. Yeah, we know why. Because he would be very embarrassed talking to me, wouldn't you, Mr. Useless? Don't worry, you're not the only political figure who can't handle talking to me. So Mr. Useless wants to engage in free speech and the transfer of ideas, but runs away from the first objective interview that he could potentially do. Oh, and he has passed my best wishes in your future endeavours. Well, I'll give you my best wishes when you get sacked in the next Scottish elections in May.
Well, that's not working out, is it? So, wee Nippy has put a poison pill in my overall election ability, and now we've got another progressive prick that's going to come to pass, and Humza Useless may well be elected, although Kate Forbes is doing much better. So, Police Abusing Powers is the name of the podcast. It's got this thing with me in it. Mine had 2,000 views. This has got 46. Oh, sorry, that's got 46,000 subscribers and 8,000 views. So it's got 4 times as many, but he's obviously got multiple numbers of subscribers as well. So there is that as well. Carry on, mister.
You say they're
Jack,
going to do it and they don't do it.
Just going to accost them in the street.
Officer Jack, yeah, speaking to people is now the new word in the Communist Soviet Socialist Republic of Scotland is accosting, right? Speaking to people is now accosting. That must be silence is violence, and words are violence, and everything's violence apart from communist violence.
Well, it's not accosting, sweet to somebody, is it? No, it's not. That's ridiculous.
Now, this really annoys me. The police staff clearly trying to make an incident out of nothing by claiming he's going to accost the politicians. How many times do we see on the news the reporters chasing politicians down the road or in their car or when they're on their bike, trying to get them to answer questions?
Great commentary, great commentary.
Do we ever see the police tell the mainstream media that that's accosting and they're not allowed to do it?
No. That's because they don't. If they were doing the job properly and they were actually giving the interviews, then we wouldn't be speaking to them and not accosting them. I think that's.
Do you realise there's a way and means?
Oh, let's go back to, yes, let's have a look at this, Officer Jack's ways and means.
Roll on me, let's see what happens here, shall we? So let's go back to Officer Jack. What did Officer Jack say?
The channels are they're not doing it through the official channels, that's why we're doing it.
Oh, look at that clever young man. Let's go back and see what Officer Jack is. Because Officer Jack had a very informed and understanding sort of information for me to do it through the official channels.
Is to move on for here.
Right, so I'm not allowed to take interviews with the politicians, I've used to.
Oh, channels to do it. Oh, channels to do it, is there? Ah, the channels, Yeah, I guess under the Jack book of authoritarianism that the channels don't really want to work, do they? Oh, look at that.
The channels are they're not doing it through the official channels, that's why we're doing it. That's fine. So this is what happens with the press, independent press. Thanks very much, officer. That's great. Thanks, bye. So again,
Oh, right. I see. Right.
You're going around.
Yeah, but they don't do it. I do it my way. That's why it's called the Guerrilla TV channel, not the TV channel. Because
what was your name again?
Why would I have to give you my name, officer?
So you already gave me your name.
Well, what's the problem then? Well, you've already got it then.
Well, I'm asking you officially.
But I don't understand. What's the problem?
Right. Don't just put your camera away and just speak to us, okay?
I want to keep it. I want to keep it.
Do you see what's wrong here? Mr. Police Staff says I'm asking you officially. Well, unless he's committed a crime or you can articulate a crime that he's committed, then it's not really official. And then Miss or Mrs. or Ms. Police Staff in the off camera asks him to turn his camera off. Now I wonder why that is.
We're going to ask you for your details, okay?
Why?
Because
you've been flagged up as a security risk.
Security risk for what though?
Security risk in the building and outside here.
I've not done anything.
So they're now flagging up, and something bad's already happened to me now in the intervening period. They're trying to put me in jail, and this is what they're trying to do. This is the situation that they've harassed me, and now they're trying to put me in jail. Now I've never been in court in Scotland before, but this is obviously they're feeling the heat, so I'm going to feel the heat. So they know that I'm better than they are, and that's the reality. What are you guys saying? Let me just, before I actually finish this off. You look like Guantanamo Bay inmate in orange. That camera would bring them down a fair peg. Meticulously done, a brilliant video of leadership candidates laugh out loud. I'll need to give you a phone for getting another pint, bro. Not a problem, mate, anytime. Just seen the pop-up and my phone, mate, not so good. It's your last podcast. I only joined a few Saturdays ago. Stay joined, buddy. Stay joined, The Wanderer, and keep it on. Joined a few Saturdays ago back after having a pint with you in the Alexander Bell. It's Tam. How you doing, mate? Hi, Tam. How you doing, brother? Alex is clearly a big fan of the channel, Davey. Alex, how you doing, brother? Yeah, Tam Laird. Yeah, Tam Laird's great. We'll come on to Tam's in a minute. Subbed to on the Odyssey. Yeah, make sure you sub us in Rumble, sub us in Odyssey, and so we can stay in touch. Make sure you get subbed on these guys. Especially sub us in Rumble. Sub us in Rumble as well. Calling Humpty useless. Humza useless will be a hate crime. Yeah, probably will, mate. Probably will. Carry on, Dave. Let's hear more of it.
Really?
No, not a time.
Okay. Right, go and give the guy your details.
No.
Right.
If you want to do something, you have to go through my lawyer.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your lawyer's name now?
Beltrami.
Oh, is he still alive, is he?
Joe Beltrami.
So.
You can see I've not used many police and many lawyers over the years, and not knowing. Well, I knew Mr. Beltrami. Mr. Beltrami came from the same place as I did, location and lived in the same location.
The son.
The son.
They still got one.
David, you said your name was it?
Yeah.
What was your second name, David?
It doesn't matter.
So you can see the level of harassment. Now, as I said, I don't blame the police. It's not me versus the police by any stretch of the imagination. The police are just doing their job. I understand that they've said that I'm X, Y and Z, but this is coming from the wokey wafters. It's the wokey wafters that are the problem, not the police.
Right, David, because I've got reason to believe that you're here to cause a disturbance.
I'm not causing a disturbance.
Right, I'm going to ask you under Section 20 of the Police and Fire Reform Act to move on. If you refuse to move on, you'll be committing an offence.
Well, it doesn't bother me.
Well, David, I don't like the fact that you're doing something that you're allowed to do and I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to make up an incident and force you to move on with threat of arrest if you don't. Don't you realise human rights don't matter to me? I'm a police constable and I can do what the fuck I like.
We're moving on, officer, because I'll still get the interviews anyway, regardless of what I'm going to do.
No here.
It's alright, just not here. But I've not really caused an offence. Just to put this, I've not caused an offence. I've not caused any problem. That's not.
What I'm saying is,
the independent media's getting harassed by the police. I've been flagged up.
Security risk.
Why are we doing what though? I've not done anything. I've not done.
So they're now flagging me up as a security risk, for not doing anything, and now. After all this has happened, I've now been put in a situation where something's happened, and something's happened to me, and the police haven't investigated this incident properly, and which could send me to jail. So I just want to keep this all in mind. You've seen the police the police harassment as well. Prior to this, and this is coming down from, of course, the MPs and MSPs and the Wokey Wefter Brigade.
Listen to me, you're not giving me a chance to speak.
Right.
You've been spotted on CCTV hanging about entrances that staff come out and go in, both here and up there.
Hanging about, I told you we're on an online political channel.
Yeah, well, there's nobody here willing to speak to you at this moment.
Right, but it's the government, they're meant to be held to account.
Right?
I've not disagreed with you so far.
Section 20 registration is to move on for here.
Right, so I'm not allowed to take interviews with the politicians, is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying you're not allowed, I'm saying there's protocols you have to go through.
The channels, we already know that they're not doing it through the official channels, that's why we're doing it this way.
You've been told to move on.
That's fine, that's good, that's fine. That's fine. So this is what happens with the press, the independent press. Thanks very much, officer, that's great, thanks, bye. So, again, this is the state, this is almost like the Stalin state that we've got to, where you can't actually get the politicians, independent politicians, you're getting flagged as a security risk for asking them questions. Wow, that is something else. That is unbelievable what is actually happening in the state of our society. Getting flagged. I saw the guy looking at me inside and I literally was sitting on the bench, never said a word. So, and I think it was Andy Whiteman who assaulted me from the Green Party that actually flagged up. I saw him pass a wee note to the security. So,
oh man, I'm absolutely loving it. Honestly, the walk down memory lane's giving me all sorts of flashbacks. So let's do a few more and then we'll call it a day on YouTube. I mean, it's better just showing you what you guys like, because obviously the numbers play for themselves. So we went down to, let's just see if this was the... Now, don't forget, just stay subscribed to this channel. You never know, things might pop out in this channel. There's the great Avi Yemeni. Avi's probably... Avi and Alex Jones were inspirations for this channel. And I managed to speak to Avi twice, which great honour for me as well. Lovely fella, love Avi. And yeah, his journalism inspired me, so thanks very much, Avi.
What are you saying is?
I can't believe they let you back in. Me neither. So. The last time we were up a dark alley together, last chat we had.
I prefer not to talk about that.
And
I'm waiting on Morris turned up and he fucking ate a big sword.
I'm so disappointed everybody was talking because I was dying to get a proper chat with Avi just by himself. I'd love to. I like having a wee chat with him. But everybody decided they wanted to speak to us that day, and I was spitting chips because I was dying to speak to Avi by himself.
And how was your flight and everything? Did you go over safely? No problems?
Yeah. I was honestly, I was a little bit shocked. I got to immigration here, and he was looking at me all funny, and I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. I'm on one of those lists. And I'll tell you, I'm really cocky. But after 30 hours of flying, suddenly I'm like, I will do anything to get in, mate. I will do anything. I will do. Just let me get to a bed and a shower. But he looks at me and he goes, why have you been here in the last 3 months 4 times? So I just said I met a girl.
That's brilliant.
That was me.
That was you.
She's here.
She's gorgeous.
Try to say transgender, a big transgender. That could spit out.
I met her on Tinder.
Yeah. So let's talk a wee bit politics then. What's happening in Australia? Tell us the gossip from down under.
Now, Avi started before me. And watching Avi's stuff being abused and called a Nazi as well, funnily enough, calling Dank a Nazi. Everybody's apparently in the Fourth Reich, which obviously being Jewish is quite offensive. Calling that Avi, I would say that calling Avi a Nazi is more offensive than the Nazi pug joke, because obviously that was a joke. But Avi is doing some great stuff, and like we're doing with the Guerrilla TV channel, holding the political class to account.
It's a bit scary, like the rest of it. You know. I just went through an election, and we saw a Labor onslaught. So the left are literally dominating at the moment. And when I stood there and asked people, "Why are you voting Labor?" and they said, "Listen, we agree with all your politics, but I don't have a job. So when I get a job, I'll vote Conservative." And you and me both know it's going to be too late by then. But that's the worry. The fact is that the working class, a lot of them are struggling hard, and they're kind of just, they don't realise how valuable their vote is. They don't realise that if you vote for your immediate needs, you're gone. You're giving away the country, and you're giving away your long term.
Only through capitalism and actually development of businesses will the working class actually get employed.
Absolutely.
The lower the taxes, the lower the regulation, and the greater the ability to have money in your pocket is going to generate business and going to generate
growth,
a greater amount of opportunities for these people.
Absolutely. Look, these guys that I was talking to, they weren't voting to get a job. They were voting to get welfare until they can get a job. So they're good people. But they don't realise what they're doing.
You get stuck in a catch-22 situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've got to make sure that, and the only way to fight it is through education and educating people to realise, to understand that if you give away that one vote because you want welfare now,
or you don't go out and vote at all,
no welfare is going to help you in the future.
And what was the name of the party you stood for?
Australian Liberty Alliance.
And is this quite a new party then? I was speaking to you, both of you. So how many Debs, that's right, you and Debbie, how many votes did you get then?
We got thousands across the state.
Oh, did you? That's brilliant.
We got thousands in a very left-wing socialist state. But we have a major fight ahead of us.
Well, I get it. Rome wasn't built in a day, and you have to chisel it out. That's what has to happen. It has to be chiselled out. But there seems some very strange things happening in Australian politics these days.
Yes, there is. Look, Australia's
and that was probably bad commentary from me. I think we all know what's happening. We've got the wokey wefters from the Davos promoting communism, postmodernist communism, and ethnic cleansing for you, and corporatism, and using governments to siphon off massive, creating incidents and siphon off massive amounts of money from the taxpayer. by sycophantic political class.
Massive country. And you've got, you know, with the state I come from is very left-wing. Then you've got conservative states which are fighting, and you've got, you know, so it's going to be interesting. I think the next 10 years of politics is going to define, well, it is, obviously, it's going to define history, and it's going to make the path that we're going on. And I hope movements like we've seen here today are going to define it, and not ridiculous elections like we saw in my state in the last month.
It's time for the public, the 99%, to actually take.
And I made the mistake there, taking the mic off Avi, and that was a mistake I made as well, because Avi's lost a wee bit of interest, but he was a wee bit interested in this as well. But I should have continued to interview Avi, and this is a thing about getting in the middle of and this is my own naivety, and stay on the subject, even if people come up and interfere in the actual process. Now, this guy's commentary was actually quite interesting, but he should have waited and not in the middle of the interview.
Control and stop people like George Soros and all the elites.
So he's correct. He's absolutely correct in what he's saying. He's not wrong, but he should have just waited till I finished the interview with Avi, and an interview with him would actually been very good by itself.
All these, you know, the open borders and all of that, because George Soros funds a lot of what's going on right now.
In conjunction with our political class.
So it's time for us to actually take back control as the public. Doesn't matter which strata of the public you are.
And obviously funding the NGOs, non-governmental organisations, who are actually facilitating the illegal importation of a lot of non-migrants who are non-refugees.
Take back control, and from these, even it's not even 1%, it's 0.005% when you boil it down. But no longer can such a minuscule amount of people run the whole world. Please check out. What's your channel name?
The Guerrilla TV channel.
Oh, Guerrilla TV. So check out my channel. I'm on Eco.
So I screwed up a wee bit about poor Avi. There's David from Unity News Network. Dave's still going, Unity News Network. Don't forget, I've got Guerrilla TV and Guerrilla TV channel. So Guerrilla TV channel is a bit like YouTube in the fact that we channel other people's work as well. It's not just our own work. And Unity News Network's a great organisation. And when I was standing as an MP, I went on and had a chat with David Clues, who's a great commentator, great political mind, and go and look up Unity News Network as well, guys.
This is a stove heating.
Gentleman, Mr. Laidlaw is a councillor, but I think Mr. Laidlaw might be another Remainer. I think he might be another Conservative Christian Democrat Remainer. I don't know that for a fact, but I know that he was very friendly with Joanna Cherry. Sorry, not Joanna Cherry, Ruth Davison.
Right, okay.
And Ruth Davison represents the Christian Democratic wing, the Tory Reform Group wing of the Conservative Party.
Yeah. I mean, this is an interesting thing, David, because it is a big issue. A lot of people, especially on our stream, were very disappointed with the Brexit Party for not standing in all the constituencies.
It was definitely right. Even now they've got time to reflect. Nigel got it completely correct. And the biggest letdown was the Conservative Party, because the Conservative Party are just a bunch of wokey wefters.
What's your opinion on that?
And certainly not Conservative, and certainly not in favour of Brexit.
I understand why they were disappointed. I think it's a brilliant move by Nigel. And do you want me to go into the details of why it's a brilliant move?
Yes, please.
The Conservatives have already taken 3 years not to do anything with Brexit under Theresa May.
Listen to my political commentary here, guys. Listen to this. Listen, and how correct I've got up to now. Now, the UK Reform Party is now sitting at 10% in the polls. we've got a collapsing WEF-dominated, globalist shill, wokey wefter Conservative Party that's collapsing. The now under Richard Tice, the UK Reform Party sitting at 10%. We're going to see a collapse in the SNP. It's going to be a new era in British politics. A third party in third, who's not neither the Liberals or the SNP, and that's going to be the UK Reform. I said the UK Reform Party may win the election. It's a bit tight on that time scenario, but they're certainly going to potentially be the third party in British politics, even in Scotland.
Nigel has now stood
maybe the fourth in Scotland, but potentially the third.
So Boris, I think, comes from almost the same position as Ruth Davis, and I actually think Boris might be a secret Remainer as well, and just a political opportunist. The Conservative Party are riven with Remain Conservative MPs. If Boris gets a large majority, it's looking like 50 odd.
So he got 70 odd seats. So I was nearly correct in my prediction again. I was probably underestimated about 20 seats, which is not bad for guesstimates, and I'll show you other guesstimates in a minute, but you can see how accurate I get it. Over 50 seats.
As a majority. He has to deliver Brexit in the next 5 years. The Conservative Party will not be trusted at the next election if they do not deliver Brexit. Like what happened at the European election. If Boris doesn't deliver Brexit, and the Conservatives don't, after 3 years previously of not delivering Brexit, they will literally get wiped out. People will be jumping ship. And I think Nigel will stand in every constituency, maybe with the exception of some of the ERG and some of the people who are proper Brexiteers within the Conservative Party. Because what that will mean is the Conservative Party are just full of Remainers and basically full of Christian Democrats, which we already know they are.
Well, no, I wouldn't even call them Christian Democrats. Social Democrats.
What I'd call them is wokey wefters. That's what they would call them now, wokey wefters. It's full of wokey wefters, open border wokey wefters are beholden to Baldy Dr. Evil and Davos.
Democrats would probably
and the Bilderberg Group
be more of an apt.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't. To answer your question, the Social Democrats, the Liberal Democrats, and the Christian Democrats, these are all corporatist globalists. There isn't a fag paper between them on a policy point of view.
I mean, how correct? Which other MP, other person was actually saying this back at that time? I think there were some great people in the Brexit Party, but how many people were getting at that on the nail from actually that sort of political commentary? There wasn't very many.
So we've all had the illusion of choice. But what it's just been is the Social Democrats, the Liberal Democrats, like Tony Blair and Gordon Brown are Social Democrats.
But no, and I'm wrong in that. So what it has been is that every political party has been beholden, unknown to the electorate, and in conjunction with their press, the tech companies, which is why I'm leaving YouTube, and in conjunction with the media. They've all gone to Davos, pledged their allegiance to the wokey wefters and open borders, including the Conservative Party. There has been only one political party in the UK, and that was the wokey wefter party.
Yeah. And then we've got the liberals, undemocratic.
Corporatist globalists pushing communism, postmodernist Marxism Democrats,
for you. And with Joe Swinton, who just doesn't not interested in democracy. And then we've got the Christian Democrats, Amber Rudd, Rory Stewart. We've got Rory Stewart was a Bilderberger and probably a corporatist globalist as well. And we've also got what's his name, Ken Clark, obviously, who was one of the head of the Bilderberg Group.
David.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing.
Well, I'm glad the ABC's making a lot of money out of my videos, though.
Until
without passing any of over while deleting some of my videos as well. Thanks, YouTube, ABC.
what is the future for the Brexit Party?
He needs a shave.
A wee bet. I don't think the Brexit Party are going to win any seats. I just don't. I've made a bet on it. I just don't think the numbers are there. I think everybody agrees that a new political force is needed in the UK that is anti-globalist, pro-British, you know, a bit like what UKIP once was, and Nigel did allude to a lot of that at the manifesto. What's the future for the Brexit Party? Do you think they'll just wither away and die?
Have you read the manifesto?
I have not read the manifesto because they didn't do a manifesto, they did a contract.
Well, a contract, sorry, I apologise, you're quite right, that's right, well spotted, my deliberate mistake there.
That was brilliantly recovered by me, if I must say so myself.
Have you read the contract?
I haven't read it from cover to cover, no. So there's my honest answer.
Excellent.
I've read most of it.
It's absolutely excellent. We've got a problem, and Carol Benjamin doing ACAD Daily have both covered it, and they both said it was probably the best out of all the manifestos and contract now of all the political parties. I can certainly stand behind what the reforms, the abolition of the House of Lords, more money to the regions for start-up businesses. There's a lot of the things in the contract that I can stand behind. We're going to put it in the Scotsman and the Edinburgh Evening News and put what's in the contract in front of people in the Evening News and in the Scotsman, so people can have a look at what's in it. So there's more policies than just Brexit.
Listen. From what I saw, scrapping the TV licence, scrapping HS2, cutting migration to less than 50,000 per annum. It was certainly something I could get behind, but the problem is
he's making them in. That's a joke about me. I'll leave that there with Dave. Unity News Network is Dave's channel. Dave Clues, absolutely fantastic. He had to come off telling the truth on YouTube as well. Obviously, telling the truth on YouTube's a death sentence for the channel, especially a political one. So let's see content. Oh no, what am I doing here? Getting all excited there. Let me just go on to this. Content. That's not what I really want to do. I want to be on this, your channel. Videos. What else have we got that's interesting? They loved that there. I said that Nigel Farage, this is 2 years ago, I said Nigel Farage UK Reform Party will win the next election. Now if Nigel comes back, that is a distinct possibility. If Nigel comes back at a specific time, he will cut into the Conservative Party, potentially wipe the Conservatives out and actually get a massive amount of seats. Richard Tice actually done a great job, but if Nigel comes back as leader at the right time, then he could come back. He's been better coming back in the next few months. It will cut into the Conservative lead. It will boost in every seat in the UK. The UK Reform, there's people placed in every seat. Somebody would have to make way for Nigel, but they would have to identify which seat Nigel was best elected in, rather than actually just standing in the seat and getting defeated every time. Move to a different seat, and then people will go out and vote, maybe somewhere in the north for Nigel. And if Nigel came back, my prediction here then stops looking as crazy as it was 2 years ago. I mean, can you imagine actually getting it correct that a party out of nowhere could actually win the next election? Nobody is the Labour vote's not a hard vote. Labour vote's a soft vote. I mean, everybody knows that the Labour Party's full of dough balls. Everybody knows that if you get Humza useless for a First Minister in Scotland, you know that the quality of the MSPs and the MPs and the SNP is soft as well. We all know that the Liberals are useless and the Greens are just a bunch of commie Marxists. So if Nigel came back, this could revolutionise politics. I know he's quite cosy in GB News, but I think it's now time for him to come back. If he came back, it's a game changer in British politics. And you've heard it here first. So this is me making my prediction 2 years ago, thinking Nigel was still going to be the person in charge of the UK Reform Party. Now, Mr. Tice hasn't done a bad job, but anyway, let's hear what Dave's got to say.
Great news today. Obviously, Nigel watches the Guerrilla TV channel. Fantastic, great. I said that they should transform into the Reform Party, and they have. Absolutely fantastic news. Over the moon that they've actually done it. What I would suggest, humbly, as a strategy going forward, is that they speak to Lawrence Fox. Lawrence Fox is a lovely fella. I really like Lawrence. Every time I hear him, he makes a lot of sense, and he's correct as well. He's politically correct, and I think Nigel should speak. I know he's already spoken to Lawrence, but I think he should speak about bringing the Reclaim Party into the Reform Party. It seems pointless to have two different parties, and they should just come together. Lawrence is not, I think, as good as Nigel, and he's certainly not got as much political gravitas, and it would just split the vote. It would be completely pointless, and I think both of whom are looking at the same sort of idea, same direction. Obviously, Nigel needs to start to incorporate other people's ideas in the Reform Party who are of a similar political ilk, and develop the Reform Party as much as can. I'm
going to leave that there. I think if I've had a good whack at it. 5 years, we've had some incredible insights. Send your emails so I can stay in touch, and we'll set up a mailing list to the guerillatvchannel at gmail.com. I'll keep the channel up on YouTube and just allow you guys to look at it and sample it and whatever over the years to see how correct or incorrect my political analysis was. I've had a great 5 years on YouTube. Haven't made any money out of it, but definitely without a doubt made an impact in Scottish politics, both from the Guerrilla TV channel and other things that I've done out with the Guerrilla TV channel. We still haven't broken through in Scottish politics, but that will come, and really it would be no loss to get the majority of the MSPs out of the Parliament. A lot of absolute dead weight in the Scottish Parliament. I can't continue on YouTube because there's already 2 strikes. One more strike and they take off all the content after 5 years. Not having paid anything from it, obviously YouTube don't really care. There should be protections against that sort of thing and rights of me as an individual to get my content back. But that's a fight for another day. Anyway, I think that's me. What do you guys say? His videos are good. Police Scotland always acts shitily to the public. You look like Guntanian Ray. Yeah, well, guys, I love my baby Guerilla'S. Years and yes, Tam Laird. Tam's a good guy. Alex is a big fan of the channel, Davey. That's good, mate. That's good. Listen, love my baby Guerilla'S. Thank you very much for the support over the years. You've been absolutely terrific. Get me. I don't know how long it's going to take me to start broadcasting on Rumble, because I've still not really worked out how Rumble works and whether I can live stream through it, and whether I have to pre-tape I like actually going live, and whether I have to pre-tape the content and then upload it, which is a possibility, but I have to see how it works out. At least hopefully it's working tonight, and you can the cameras worked and the lighting's worked and everything else has worked. Let me see it. I have to pre-tape the content. I'm saying that the lightings work. I look sort of toxic red. Thanks, mate. Thanks very much. And then upload it, which is up. So very interesting. I still, I've managed to sort out the sound, and I can't sort out the lighting just now for some strange reason. I don't know if it's the camera, don't know if it's the light. I've got 4 lights around me that should be lit properly, and I'm looking like the Red Ranger. So I don't know what's happening with the lighting through, whether it's the phone, whether it's any of this. I mean, that looks normal. And I don't know, so I don't know if it's OBS that's changing it. I've just updated OBS, but I've got this sort of tinge that I don't understand. It certainly doesn't look like it's coming from the phone, and yeah, so it's very sort of strange, very strange. But yeah, 5 years of my life invested in this. I've got rid of some dross in the political class. And yeah, I've been delighted. Although it was never going to go from strength to strength. But if you want to get a hold of me, it's guerillatvchannel@gmail.com. So if you want to stay in a mailing list and get in contact with me, guys, guerillaTV on gmail.com, and get me on Rumble. But what will eventually happen is that we'll have this sort of procedure on the guerillatvchannel.com. And that'll all look pretty much similar to what's on YouTube just now. Yeah, they won't be able to delete my videos, censor my words, or do any of the other things that the Californians are doing. They obviously think they're it just now. Things change. Anyway, love my baby gorillas. Last time, well, you never know. Stay subscribed. You've got nothing to lose. You're not getting anything anyway. You're not losing anything. Don't unsubscribe. But stay subscribed. If you're going to subscribe anywhere, subscribe on Rumble. That's probably the place that it'll kick off, not Odyssey. Odyssey will pick up on the back of it, but eventually everything will go on to the Guerrilla TV channel, and you'll get the same service like this on the Guerrilla TV channel, and that's where I'll be broadcasting regularly from in the future, so that we don't have any of this problems. We get paid because we put in a lot of work. So a lot of time and work goes into this, and hopefully we can get a better picture for you guys in the future. And yeah, I think we've changed British and Scottish politics, guys. Love our baby gorillas.